evening and welcome to a new edition of the news. Authorities issued an order banning from travel 7 people suspected of being accomplices in a case involving the illegal production and smuggling of tobacco. State Minister for Media Affairs government spokesperson Jumana Ghnemat said the government will investigate and follow up on the issue in cooperation with the security agencies and the competent authorities, and will hold to account those involved in this case wherever they are and bring them to justice. Ghnemat said all those prevented from travel are holders of the Jordanian nationality, except for one who is a Dutch national, adding that an investigation into the case is underway and that the defendants will be referred to the customs prosecutor when due procedures are completed. Commenting on reports that businessman Aouni Muti', a major suspect in the case, had left the kingdom, Ghnemat said he was found to have departed one day before a raid of 4 sites in the Zarqa Free Zone on July 11th, adding that the travel ban also includes Muti''s brother and his son. She said the raid by the Customs Department, which was referred to by Prime Minister Omar Razaz, had led to the discovery of a warehouse for materials used in the manufacture of tobacco. Customs officers also raided a site in Arama and found that 3 companies were manufacturing tobacco there and seized various kinds of machines, a packing line and raw materials such as paper and cigarette filters. The customs officers also raided a site in Al-Amad where they found a factory licensed to produce juices, which was used as a cover for an illicit tobacco packing and packaging operation. Officers seized tobacco packing and labeling devices, 16 cartons of cigarettes and a truck. Lower House Speaker Atif Tarawne urged Arab parliaments to unanimously reject any unjust settlement to the Palestinian issue and support the Palestinian Authority in upholding Palestinian rights and seeking a viable solution that culminates in the declaration of a Palestinian state. Speaking at an extraordinary session of the Arab Parliamentary Union in Cairo, Tarawne said any peace settlement that oversteps the 2-state solution and the declaration of a Palestinian state on national Palestinian soil with East Jerusalem as its capital is unacceptable. The kingdom, he said, will not relinquish its duty of safeguarding Islamic and Christian holy sites in Jerusalem under the Hashemite custodianship over the holy shrines and will continue to stand against Israeli violations. A day after one of the most fierce flare-ups along the Gaza border in years, a truce between Hamas group and Israel held today. During the violence that lasted several hours, Israeli strikes shook buildings in Gaza and fire lit the night sky. 4 Palestinians were killed.
Hamas says it has agreed a truce with Israel in the Gaza Strip, the day after an escalation in violence along the border. Clashes on Friday killed 4 Palestinians and an Israeli soldier, who was the first to die on the Gaza front since the 2014 war between Israel and Hamas. Israel's military declined comment but said life should return to normal for Israelis living next to the Strip. During the flare-up, Palestinian gunmen shot the soldier dead and Israel launched dozens of strikes. 3 of the Palestinians killed were Hamas fighters. Weekly clashes on the Israel-Gaza border have kept tensions high for months. Israeli forces have killed at least 140 Palestinians in protests they've been holding every week on the border since March, demanding the right to return to lands lost to Israel when it was founded 70 years ago, and an end to a blockade imposed by Israel, which has deepened hardship in already poor and overcrowded Gaza. If confirmed, the ceasefire would be the 3rd this year.
To Syria, where hundreds of Syrian rebels and their families evacuated from the border with the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights and Dar'a province arrived at a crossing in Hama on their way to the rebel-held north. With a Russian-backed government offensive closing in, rebels in Quneitra province have agreed to either accept the return of state rule or leave to Idlib province in the north. Buses transporting both rebels and civilians began leaving the Quneitra area yesterday. The offensive has restored Syrian government control over a swathe of the southwest and has been one of the swiftest campaigns of the 7-year-long war. In response to U.S. President Donald Trump's zero-tolerance immigration policy, which led to the separation of children from their parents, one artist hopes through her art she can spark action. Part art, part a protest piece. 75-year-old Marilyn Miller crafted a multimedia sculpture called Immigration Reform in Manhattan, New York. The piece consists of a steel cage with a mannequin of a mother with her arm outstretched, wearing a t-shirt that reads on the front, "They took my child, and where is my child?" on the back. And just a few meters away, separated by bars, is another mannequin, this one depicting the daughter, wearing a t-shirt that says, "Mommy, where are you? And I want my mommy."
I woke up one morning and couldn't stand thinking about the separation of parents from their children. I would have cried, so I can't carry on too long. And I said, I got to do something. What can I do? I'm an artist. The cage, what a horrific image. I mean, it's unthinkable to put people, innocent people that are just looking for security, safety, peace, in a cage. So I made a cage.
To sports. For Tatiana Mozio Bongonga, walking on a cord held suspended meters in air by a crane in the center of Paris is no daredevil feat. With no security cable attached to her costume, the French tightrope walker walked across a cord suspended 35 meters above Paris's Montmartre. The rope started from the base of Hill steps and led to the Sacré-Cœur Basilica, where Bongonga descended. The show also featured an orchestra. Tatiana Mozio started walking on tightrope when she was 8 years old. And finally, for a quick look at the weather. Moderate conditions are expected tomorrow with temperatures remaining below seasonal average and the winds northwesterly moderate, picking up at times and stirring dust in the desert areas. Amman can expect a high of 30 degrees Celsius and a low of 20, while in the Gulf of Aqaba, hot conditions prevail with daytime temperatures at 38 degrees, dropping down to 28 at night. And with this, we come to the end of this edition of the news. I'm Ali Atuqan. Thank you for joining us and have a good night.